Hi everyone, thanks for joining today's webinar, What's New with Insightly, our 2016 edition. My name is Alyssa and I'm a Customer Success Specialist here at Insightly, and I'm delighted to be presenting for you today. We have a couple of different ways that you can connect with us, whether it's on our social media channels or going ahead and posting questions or taking a look at some help articles and webinars on our online help center. You can get to the help center by visiting support.insight.ly. Now, a little bit about how you can stay informed with the latest and greatest that Insightly is offering. We actually have a product blog post that goes out whenever new features are actually launched. This is going to take you on the best to the best page ever in order to get some background about what we're doing with Insightly and exactly how these different new features can help solve some business practices and business solutions for you. So definitely sign up for our product news and blog posts available from Insightly's website on our product news tab. That can be available at insightly.com/product-news. As I mentioned, this is what our help center looks like, available at support.insight.ly. Definitely going to be the best way to get answers to any questions that you have. We have tons of different help articles and support documentation, and you can post questions. So not only will Insightly moderators help you, but also others in our Insightly community. So other users just like you. All right, so now a lot of people have questions about how a new feature actually becomes a new feature here at Insightly. There's actually this whole process that I'm presenting you today that tells about the actual idea being a suggestion on our online community. Basically, it gets different votes from users, and that really helps us to put things into perspective as to whether or not this is really important to our user base as a whole. Of course, we want to get things that our majority of our users are actually asking for. Then goes through a consideration process, allows us to go ahead and spec this out a little bit more and put it into our product roadmap. Then goes into actual development, allows us to then test, and then we have it presented for you. So again, anything that you post on our online community is very welcomed. We love hearing back from our customers and seeing what types of different features or ideas and suggestions that you do have. So please add those into the ideas and suggestions page on our online help center. All right, so this is covering basically all of the different features that were launched between the months of August and December 2016. So we really wanted to do a full recap for you in order for you to make sure that you didn't miss anything that we launched lately. We do send these out in our customer newsletters as well, but just in case you didn't get a chance to read one in a particular month, we do these recaps pretty much once every quarter. All right, so you can see on my screen right now, I have a variety of different major new features that were launched, a couple of improvements for our web app, and then a couple of mobile improvements as well. So these range from anything that's really, really awesome in terms of new features that are available to the masses, and then some that are also great that are available to some of the more higher price plans because they are a little bit of a more advanced feature. So what I'll do today is I'll go through each of these different features and then I'll show a quick demo for our major features, workflow automation and advanced permissions. We do actually have separate webinars that go more in depth. So if you're interested in learning more about those new features, please take a look at one of the on-demand webinars that we have available in our online help center. You can just go ahead and search our help center for workflow automation webinar or advanced permissions webinar, and you can go through. They're about 30 minutes long, but it's going to give you the best way to learn more and see in depth, and you can also post questions on the community if you have any specifics that you'd like to know. All right, so let's go through the first one. I have workflow automation for you. So what workflow automation does is it allows you to automate your daily activities by setting up predefined workflows that trigger actions for you. So this is available on the professional and enterprise plan, so something very important to note. If you don't currently have those plans and you want to get in touch with us here at Insightly to learn more about upgrading or just costs or anything like that, we have a fantastic sales team who would love to talk to you. So please reach out to us at sales@insightly.com. Now, in terms of what workflow automation can really do for you, let's think about right now maybe a process that you have in place. So a lead could come into your system and you get assigned this lead, and then you have to go and follow up with the lead, and you have to make a bunch of manual entry and updates on the lead's record, and if the lead doesn't get back to you, you have to send another email. So what if all of that could be automated for you? What if when a new lead came in, they could automatically be sent an email? And if they didn't respond within 5 days and their status was still not contacted, or it was still in some sort of status that means that they hadn't given you a response, you could also have another triggered email go out to them. So that's actually what workflow automation is going to do for you. So it's going to allow you to not only email leads or contacts, it's going to allow you to add new tasks for a record. So maybe add a task for the lead that's going to allow you to send some supporting documentation for them. It's also going to allow you to add new records. So if you wanted to create an opportunity from the lead, you can easily do so. Or you can update the lead's records. So all of this is capable with workflow automation. So what we can do together now is I'm going to switch over to this screen, and I'm going to show you where workflow automation would actually be found. So if I go into my profile icon, down to system settings, which is available to any admins. Next, I'm going to go down here over to workflow processes. So you can see on my screen right now, I have a couple of different workflows that I've already created. The one that we're going to take a look at together is actually one that I've been mentioning, and it's a new lead flow. So I'm going to go ahead and press this pencil edit icon. Now, when you first create a workflow, this is the page that you're immediately going to be taken to. You basically define the process name. So this is going to be a workflow about new leads getting entered into the system, giving a little bit of a description so that anybody looking at this workflow knows exactly what it's about. And then most importantly, you have to choose the record type for the workflow. So you can choose between any of the record types, basically contacts, leads, organizations, opportunities, projects, or tasks. And then you would choose to tell Insightly, when do you want Insightly to evaluate your criteria? So when do you want it to look at all of the information on the lead's profile in order to see, is it time to trigger a record? So that's what's down here, the evaluation criteria. Now, once you've set up these first details, what you'll want to do is add your criteria. So the criteria is basically a set of different filters that you're going to want Insightly to take a look at. And if these filters are true, then it's going to send a specific action or take some sort of triggered action. So the criteria that I've actually created on my workflow say that the status of the lead needs to equal to not contacted, and that the user responsible name needs to be myself. So I just have two different filters. You can add definitely more if you wanted, but these are precisely the different fields that I want Insightly to measure against. So what this means is that if I create a new lead and the status equals to not contacted, and I'm the responsible user, then I need Insightly to take the following actions. So going from the actions dropdown, you can again assign one of these different actions to take place. Now in my particular case, I've set up 3 actions to happen immediately. First, I want an email to be sent to myself so that I have a notification about this new lead. So we'll just quickly take a look at what this email looks like. The email that I've set up actually says, hi, a new lead, and then it gives the lead's name and their organization has been assigned to you. Please check in on them. And the other email that's going to be sent immediately is actually to the lead directly. So this already is saving me time from needing to manually follow up with this lead. Lastly, it's a check-in task. So I want to make sure that when I have a new lead that's assigned to me, that I have a check-in task that's going to be due within 2 days, just to reassure myself that I've really closed the loop with at least the initial conversation to get started. There's tons that you can do with workflow automation. This is just meant to give you a quick glimpse into the capabilities, and hopefully going forward, you'll want to learn a little bit more about workflow automation as well with my webinar or the online help articles that we have available. All right, so now let's go to this next one. This is advanced permissions. So advanced permissions is also the other feature available on Professional and Enterprise. And what it's going to do for you is basically create layers of permissions so that you can actually control who creates new records, who can view records, who can delete records, and also who can edit them. So you can put people in different roles and then in different profiles as well. So not only do you get to control what they can do and see, but also you can create some sort of a hierarchy so that it's really easy for managers to see everything for the people who are subordinates underneath them, but maybe not for people who are all on the same level. So linear. All right, so let's see what this looks like in terms of Insightly. So from system settings again, we're going to go into permissions. And there's going to be two different permission settings. A simple permissions in which every account has by default, and then also an advanced permission setting. Now, the first thing that you're going to do in advanced permissions is define different profiles. The profiles, as I mentioned, is what's going to allow you to say, okay, somebody has maybe read and create access, but from there they can't edit or delete. Or what's most common with different companies is just revoking delete access from all record types so that no rogue employee, for example, can delete anything in Insightly's system. So you can create as many profiles as you'd like and then add the users in your system to these particular profiles. So if I go back to the page before this, you can see that by default, we've created a standard user profile and administrator. And then I've created two new ones. I've created a no contact access and no delete access. So if I were to look at no contact access, it's saying that anything related to contacts, the boxes have been unchecked. If somebody was in this particular profile and they went into Insightly, they actually wouldn't see this contact section on the left-hand side. So it's going to completely remove that particular section from their visibility. Now, after you determine what people can see and do, you also want to set up what's called the roles hierarchy. So starting from the top going down, the person at the very top, most likely the CEO or owner of a company, is who's going to have the user access or visibility into everything in the system. Now, as we go down, you're going to have the next major role players, such as VPs or different supervisors. So in this particular hierarchy, this supervisor has insight into what is happening from the people underneath them. And the same goes as I go down this hierarchy right here. Now, let's just say that I have junior success specialists and they need to see each other's contacts, but I don't want them to see other people in, let's say, sales contacts. What I need to make sure to do is to also create what's called a sharing rule. The sharing rule is going to allow you to determine who has access to each other's records. So basically, I want to go ahead and say Junior Success Specialist, I'll just put JRSS, contact share. I'm going to go ahead and press Task to Contact. And from here, what we're going to do is go ahead and select the box for Junior Success Specialist and then press Save. All right, so now what that means is that if I were a junior success specialist and so was one of my colleagues, we're going to be able to see each other's contacts. But if Dan in sales was to look at the contact section, all of our contacts are going to be invisible to him. So you can create as many rules as you'd like, and as many roles, as many profiles, whatever is going to help you to really gain or restrict access to specific record types that certain people don't need access to. Now, Organization-wide sharing is also a really important element with advanced permissions. This basically determines by default if something should be private versus public. So generally speaking, a lot of organizations set everything as private, and then as need be, they'd move it to public if they wanted to. Maybe things like emails need to be private, but events and tasks can be public. So this will really help you lock down certain permissions for your users, especially as your teams continue to grow. All right, now back to our PowerPoint here. So a couple of these or all the next features that I will be talking about now are available on our all pricing plans. So whether you're on Basic, Plus, Professional, Enterprise, or one of our legacy plans. This next one is an opportunity report update, and it's the ability for you to now immediately see a calculated expected revenue field. So this is a quick glimpse into the opportunity report. What you can see here is that I've actually created the opportunity value as a field. I've brought over probability, and instead of needing to do that manual calculation, I actually have an expected revenue field, which is doing that calculation for me right away. So this should help save some time. A lot of people previously were actually exporting this information and then importing it into exporting it into Excel and then doing calculations and then importing information into custom fields. But instead, we've taken that off your plate. We've done it all for you. So in actual Insightly, if you wanted to set that up, let's go into Reports, the Opportunity Report folder, and I'm just going to select this Opportunity Report. Now, for our purposes, I'm going to get rid of some of these fields that I don't feel are necessary right now. So I have Opportunity Value here. I'm going to bring over Probability by dragging and dropping it, and also Expected Revenue. So you can see some of these have different numbers if I've actually added them, but regardless, if there is a probability and an opportunity value, you will see an expected revenue. So you can see all of this information is actually provided. Now we have tons of information about reporting and exactly how to set everything up and to fully use all of the reporting functionality and features to your full advantage. So I'd highly recommend taking a look at our help articles so that you can gain an in-depth view as well. All right, next is our history report. So the history report is what's going to allow you to track and audit changes to your opportunities over time. The opportunity report, and I'll just go ahead and jump into our demo here, is actually looked and viewed by going into the history report template. What it allows you to do basically is understand when different changes were made to your opportunities. So if I look at this opportunity, ABC Restaurant, I can see that this modification was 12/13 at 4:51. Now, between 4:51 and 4:52, there was basically the element of the actual opportunity being changed to closed. That's why this date timestamp was added. Now, between this time the opportunity was added and this next one, so 12/13 and then 1/10 of 2017, I can see that a couple other updates were made as well. The expected revenue was actually put in as a calculation, as well as the opportunity value. So this is mainly for the benefit of allowing you to track who made different changes and to give you that instant visibility. So that I was able to actually gain access to this report by going into the Opportunity Reports templates and then over into the Opportunity History Report. All right, and now one of my favorites that I'm really happy to introduce, and this is Charts and Reports. So if you're like me and lots of other people out there, you really like to visualize different things, especially data. Nobody really wants to take the time to go through all of the details in a report. Instead, if you have a chart to clearly display how things are doing, that's going to save you lots of time. And these charts being online are going to provide the best up-to-date details because they're going to dynamically update as information is actually pulled in. So you can see here we have different pie charts, we have donut charts, we have funnel charts, we have bar charts, whatever you really need in order to properly create a visual representation that's most beneficial for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of my reports that I've actually previously created, and I'm going to look at the edit section. Now once you've created a report that you feel is meaningful, the one thing that's necessary in order to create a chart is to make sure that there's something here in this grouping area. In our case, I'm going to go ahead and say that I want, and I'm just going to remove this filter, I want to put state and status into this particular filter, or this grouping option. Now I can go ahead and go down the list and see I have 2 that are abandoned, 5 that are lost, 58, etc. But what I want is basically what piece of the pie does this make up? Do these 2 abandoned opportunities? Or what's the percentage of the 5 lost opportunities out of all the opportunities that I have? In that case, I can go to the right hand side, click Add Chart to Report, and from there I'm going to automatically see a default chart populating. I can go ahead and pick the type of chart that I want. Maybe I want a donut chart right now. Give the chart a name, so I'm just going to say Opportunities 2016. Let's say that this was a report from last year. Now the values access is going to give me the record count, and then the wedges, the option that I have is state or status, and that's because that's the name of the group. So here you can see I have 37.14% of my opportunities, or 39 of them, are actually won, and then I have a couple that are still open, lost, or suspended. Now if I were to go into a vertical bar chart or a horizontal bar chart, basically you can see that this updates these field names from X and Y axis, and that was different from the values and wedges field names from the donut and pie charts that you see here. So if I want to see horizontal or vertical, you can easily see this information. Now I have an advanced reporting webinar that we also do that talks a little bit more in depth about utilizing charts and reports, and you can also join or again post questions on our community to learn more here. All right, next is being able to set probability for pipeline stages. So based on Insightly's newest functionality, what you can do is set up a pipeline, which is a linear set of stages in which would document some sort of a sales process. And when you're setting up this pipeline, such as I'm doing here with my different 6 stages, you can also say, what's the probability of winning? This basically will allow you to automatically see a probability populate, and then of course if you had an opportunity value, the expected revenue would auto calculate for you as well in your reports. So in order to gain access to setting up your probability, you're going to come into the system settings menu, and then you're going to scroll down into your pipelines. And if I go into my pipeline section, I can see that I've added my 6 different stages, and then whenever you add a stage, you just need to type in the probability here. So if I wanted an additional stage right here and I needed it to be my actual 65% mark, I can just go ahead and type in the pipeline stage. So maybe this is second meeting, click add, and now anytime I see anything, I can directly look at these. So if I actually needed this to be in the perfect ideal area, I'm going to say that this should be moved around so that it actually is in order now. All right, perfect. So reorder as necessary. Go ahead and drag and drop by looking at the pencil icon and then removing them into the next position. Next is our bulk update via import functionality. So what this allows you to do is export a list of records from Insightly, make edits into your Excel spreadsheet, and then re-import them into Insightly. So it's going to allow you to update multiple records all at once. I like to do this because there's tons of different information that I want to import and update all at once. So if I had an Excel spreadsheet to visually see everything that I want to update, I can go ahead and make the updates in different fields or different columns and then easily import back. So the way that you're actually going to gain access to this is by going into your contact or whatever type of record that you want to see. Go into the import contact section. From import contacts, you can go ahead and choose whatever type of Excel or CSV file that you just utilized. So I'm just going to pick this one here. Click next. And what Insightly is going to ask you to do on this page is your import action. So instead of selecting to add new records, as you are probably already familiar with, what you need to do is say that you want to update existing records. Likewise, if you want to add and update at the same time, you can very easily do this. So just go ahead and select that. The main important functionality right now is that in order for you to update via import, you need to make sure that the record's record ID is on the spreadsheet as well. So there's no way that it will update unless it's matched by the record ID. Everything else is exactly how it would be in the past. You're basically just going to go ahead and match all these fields up and then go ahead and import. So we also have a help article that's going to help you explain that information and give you the best insight possible. All right, and now on for the next one. This is going to be Smart Merge with contacts and leads. So you might already be familiar with this feature because it's already available for organizations. What it's going to allow you to do is go into the contact section or go into the lead section and allow you to easily see a list of all the duplicates that you have. So you can see on my screen right now, I did this for contacts and I have about 5 or 6 different Antoinettes and a couple Bobs. What I'd want to do is to make sure I can instantly go ahead and merge all of these duplicates into one. So if we look at my actual demo screen here, we can do this all together. On the right hand side is where Smart Merge for contacts is available. If I want to smart merge, let's say these Antoinettes here, what's going to happen is that I need to select a master account. So this is the one that's absolutely going to stay. Nothing's going to be deleted or edited. Everything's going to be added into that new record. So what I'm mainly looking for is what is the record that has the most information. So this one has an address, it has a phone number, the next one just has an address in LinkedIn, and then a couple of these don't really have much. So what I want to say is that this one right here is the one that I want to be the master, and I want everything else, I want those to be actually merged into this one actual contact. So when I go ahead and press merge contact, it's going to bring all the email addresses from the previous contacts, bring them into this one contact here. It's pulling over the social profile, a specific phone number, and other information that was actually in previous contacts as well. So this is going to be something super helpful for everyone who wants to instantly gain visibility into their duplicates and then making sure that they can merge them. So again, this is available for contacts and organizations and in leads. You're going to find it right over here underneath the recycle bin. All right. And now we'll go into a few different high level overview notes about mobile and the new mobile functionalities. For this particular webinar, I'm going to go ahead and just refer to the screenshots on the page. I'll go ahead and allow you to help navigate to them, but if you have your own mobile device with our mobile app already downloaded, I'd highly recommend going ahead and following along with me. All right, so now you have access to view mobile notes and files that were linked from other third-party integrations, such as Dropbox, Box, Microsoft OneDrive, and Google Drive, and also Evernote. So many of you already know that you can link files into Insightly's web app, but previously you'd go to your mobile app, you'd go into the related tab on a contact, and you wouldn't see any of those attachments. Now you have instant visibility into all of those different files, no matter where you linked or loaded them from. So the way to gain access is to actually go into the contacts, go into related, and then you would see your events, you'd see attachments, notes, etc. So you have a whole list of information that you can easily access here. All right, now we're gonna go into push notifications and following. So if you wanted to actually see push notifications on your phone, what you'll want to do is go into your settings to make sure that this is allowed. But anytime you have a particular task, you're going to instantly be able to see a notification directly on your computer. So this is something that's definitely helpful in order to gain quick visibility. Be familiar with already this happening with other apps that you have available, but this just helps to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. You're instantly going to see any task reminders that you have upcoming. All right. And we've also enhanced the ability to search, filter, and log in on the Insightly web app. So previously you couldn't do things like forgetting your password. It wasn't as seamless of a login, so hopefully that helps to get things or to get you on the web app or the mobile app even faster. And our search and filter was significantly enhanced. It's a lot faster. You're gonna have different buttons in order to choose what type of search filters that you actually want to look for. Or if you just prefer to look for all different record types and then put in a keyword, you can instantly do that. So basically added this global search that you can see on the web app now here to the mobile app. Speaking of the mobile app, I know some of you might have questions on how to download it. You can either go to the Apple Store on your iPhone, or if you have an Android, you can go to the Google Play Store. These are available in both places. Again, one more time, I do want to give a shout out to our Insightly Help Center. There's tons of information on there, and it's really a great resource. I just really stress the importance here so that you can really take advantage of everything that we have to offer. All right, thank you everyone. Please feel free to add questions to our question section in our online community. Cheers.